Hi, Doug Aiken here again from Prestige Motorsports. Again, we're here in the Dyno Room and Development Center at Prestige. Here we've got a combination that we want to discuss a little bit about the combination and the reason for this video. What this combination is, small block 347 stroker. This particular combination is for a gentleman out of Montreal, Canada. This gentleman has chose to do the 347. We're doing an Eagle cast steel crank, forged I-beam rods, in a custom JE forged piston. Now, this particular unit is using an Edelbrock cylinder head, our 224-230 cam, pretty mild camshaft, still offers good drivability, but it does have that muscle car sound. And what we're doing is we're testing with what we usually use is a dual plane Edelbrock air gap manifold. Typically, these manifolds offer good low-end torque numbers and still allow us to make a peak number of 425 to 475 horsepower, depending on camshaft selection. So, what we're going to do is we're going to run this motor with this Edelbrock head and the dual plane manifold. After we get our baseline runs, we're going to swap over to what the gentleman that purchased the motor wanted on it. What that's going to be is the Edelbrock Victor Jr., which is an open plenum, single plane style manifold. Now typically, those manifolds are going to lose a little bit low end torque, but you're going to gain a little bit of high end horsepower. Now, typically on the street, that's not something that you would typically opt for, and that's part of the reason for the test, is to kind of show you that in the dyno results. Now, the other thing to consider, and it's getting a little off topic, but the reason the gentleman has opted for the single plane open plenum manifold is due to the nitrous system. He's going to put a little sniff of NO2 to it, and that open plenum manifold offers a little bit better distribution on a plate style system. Now, if you're familiar with nitrous, there is a few different systems available. You're going to have a spray bar style plate and a perimeter plate. Now, the perimeter plate that's offered by Zex, I believe also Nitrous Express, you'll find that perimeter plate actually works very well with the dual plane air gap manifold, not giving up low end torque and still getting just good distribution of your fuel, air, and nitrous charge. But in this case, he's using a spray bar plate, so the open plenum manifold is going to be a better manifold for the combination. So typically we take our 425 horsepower base combination, makes 425 foot-pounds of torque, goes good low-end torque down at about 28,000, it's peaking over 400 foot-pounds, which is a good steady torque curve, very wide torque band, a great little street motor. So we're going to do our baseline testing with this manifold and then move on. We'll show you a little bit about changing the manifold to the single plane, and then we'll show you the numbers that we come up with. Thanks for watching, and we'll be right back with you. Okay, we're back. As I stated before, we're going to go ahead and test these manifolds. We've made our base runs. We've swapped over now to the single plane Edelbrock Victor Jr. manifold. And what I wanted to mention before I show you the results, after we do test this particular piece, there was something I forgot to mention was, on this particular combination, we did go a little bit further on our 425 horsepower combination. Basically, we took the cylinder head, we did a little bit of bowl blend. There's a couple little things that we changed there. Not to mention the forged piston, it's a good piston and ring package. That's generally worth a little bit of power. Not to mention the bowl blending. Typically, we touch the areas that are usually the most critical in the cylinder head. So you're going to notice that the 425 combination with these few extra added touches has made a little bit more power on the baseline. but it's still going to show us the difference between the dual plane and the single plane manifold. Okay, we're going to show you both of these manifolds in a little closer detail. The first one I'm going to show you is going to be the Edelbrock dual plane air gap that we were speaking of. The air gap, for the ones that haven't seen or don't know about these manifolds, basically we have this air gap between here, which is nice. Keeps a little bit cooler intake charge. You've got what your lifter valley area here and airflow flowing through that, which is a nice little added feature. The other thing is it's going to actually raise the plenum area up, which is actually making the runner a little bit longer. The reason this manifold is a good choice is due to basically the longer runner in the cross-sectional areas. Basically, at low RPM, we're looking at very low velocity due to piston speeds. So it's very important that the manifold, we kind of trick the motor into having a little bit more velocity due to a longer runner and a smaller cross-sectional area. Now, its counterpart is going to be the Victor Jr. Now, this Victor Jr. you see has an open plenum and basically feeds all cylinders of the engine, not being split down the center. What this is going to do, as explained, was going to increase the higher end horsepower or higher RPM horsepower, but we're going to give up a little bit on the bottom because of the velocity in the manifold. It's just not going to offer quite as much torque down low. Again, though, the basic difference there between the two is that, and each one of these is going to be effective on certain combinations. It just depends on what we're doing with the engine. So we're going to show you the results now, and hopefully this whole deal has kind of enlightened you on the differences in the manifolds and why a certain one is going to be chosen for a certain application.